Good morning, friends. This is actually going to be a quick video, if you can believe it. I watched Marcy, my friend from American Studios, do her garden video, and I loved it. She is much more of a prolific gardener than I. I am a hobbyist, and I do enjoy my flowers, my roses especially. I have over 60 rose bushes. Quite a few of them are in bloom right now. And I'm just going to walk you along a little bit and show you what I get to see every morning when I take my walk with my coffee to talk to my plants. And yes, I do. Now, yes, there are a lot of weeds in my gardens, and I don't apologize for that. I work in sections when I can to clean out the weeds. So this is my yard. I do have a stamped concrete patio throughout, and it is still a work in progress back here because, it rained yesterday, so the cushions are up. I enjoy coming back here, and one of the first things I did when I moved to this house was rip this out and put in a rose garden. There was a small garden here, but this was the first place on which I concentrated. I have very special roses in this garden. This coral color rose was given to me by my son a few years back. This one that's going to be blooming right here is a yellow rose, which he also gave me. I have this beautiful candy cane colored rose bush back here, which my daughter gave me in the early 2000s prior to when she went to study in Spain, and it's one of my favorites. So you can see lots of weeds in here. This is this weekend's task. My bleeding heart will need to be cut back soon because it's done flowering. And I usually cut it back. You can see where the leaves are starting to turn brown. So I will cut that back, and I will probably just put a potted plant in there for now. I still have some portulaca and some gazenas to put in, so I might put them there. I have to set up my water bath, or my little water fountain there, and I also have a water fountain that I put in the pond. This year what I added were the hostas over here. I've been trying different plants in this corner, and they just keep getting stepped on and they don't grow. So I put hostas there. I do have some money bush way back there. I'm trying to get it to focus. I don't know what it's zooming in on. But there's some, oh, my finger. There's some money bush back there that I got seeds from a neighbor before she passed away. My lilies are starting to bloom. They're over here. So very pretty. I do have a lot of mint and things in my gardens too. So out my gate, I do have a lot of hostas along the side here, both sides of my gate. A lot of them were given to me by my sister-in-law when they dug up their pool and put in an in-ground pool. And then my son and daughter-in-law, a couple years ago, they dug up part of their yard to put in a shed, and I took the hosta that they had and I separated them down and I put them here. So I do live on the corner, and I have lots of gardens, and I mean, like I said, I am a hobbyist. I am by no means a master gardener. Things that I plant sometimes die, but it is what it is. I enjoy it, and I try to do something new every year. This is the side of the house that I always seem to have a problem with. I do have a lot of mint over here just to fill in that corner. And again, yes, you're going to see my weeds, and that's okay. I did have my house painted this year, and I am so grateful that I did, because I finally got all of the gray painted dark brown. I literally had my house painted the same color brown with a darker cranberry brown trim. I liked it. So these are my clematis. This one right here is new, right here. I picked up a small clematis. It's actually right there. I got that at Aldi this year, and I put those two together. This one is really doing beautifully this year. What I did, and you can see, is I just strung some rope, not even rope, it's twine, and I'm training the leaves to go across, and it's actually looking really pretty. It reminds me of a dress. The peony need to be cut back because they are done. I got to deadhead the lilies over here. And then this is one of my most favorite spots. Last year for Mother's Day, I told my husband I wanted to dig up the side entrance and put in roses. And that is what I did. So I have the same rose bush on each side. So there's 10 rose bushes here. The two red ones in the front I had here existing. And then when we dug up, I added 8 more. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So the yellows, the pinks, the purples. Purples are my favorite roses. So they're the same on both sides. I have these solar lights that I got from Amazon. I really like them. They light up the pathway at night. This is another rose bush. Oh, and look at that, it's blooming today. This is a climber, and I'm going to have to look at that this weekend and give it some more trellis off to the side so that it has some place to go. These poor geese were my mother's, and I do not have the heart to get rid of them. The mama geese, her head is not attached, and so they're kind of hiding so that they don't get damaged. I have another clematis here. This one used to be beautiful, and a few years back when I had my roof done, they stomped all over it. So I'm trying very hard to get it back to its glory. It literally used to cover up this whole area. I did get a second clematis this year, right there, to put that in, to hopefully get it to become friends. I have more rose bushes in here, lots of them. They are starting to bloom. I do have a couple little peony ready to pop over here, but look at how tiny this little rosebud is right there. Isn't she pretty? Okay. Yes, again, I have weeds. I have weeds in my garden. It is what it is, right? With the weather, the way it's been the past few days, we either have sunlight or we have rain, and it doesn't look like we had rain because everything looks so blessed dry. What I did this year, my husband said, you know, what would you like for Mother's Day? And I said, well, I want to dig up the front path. This is what I want to do this year. And these are portulaca. There's over 200 portulaca plant here. And they're great because they actually reseed themselves, but I do know that every year I'm going to be adding a little more because I don't want to count on that just, taking care of itself. I did add those solar lights up the front here as well. I do have a hydrangea. I had 2. I had one on the other side over here, and somebody came along and dug it out. Do you believe that? You'll see milkweed popping up in various places, and I'm leaving that for the caterpillars so that I can do some butterflies again this year. Last year was the first year that I did that, and it was amazing. I had never done that before. Now, I had said that my son and daughter-in-law dug up their yard, and they gave me, there's one here, and there's one here, trellis and all, the clematis. Last year it was kind of iffy. I wasn't sure it was going to work, or take, I should say, because their ground is mostly clay. But look at it. I did the same thing here. I put some twine across the front which you can't see because of the brick, and I'm training the clematis to go across. My water feature, this used to be in my backyard, but it had rusted, and it was so pretty because the water just kind of flowed through it, but it rusted. So I thought, you know what, it gives good height for the front of my house. I have some hibiscus. They have beautiful red flowers. You can see they're growing nicely. And again, the milkweed, and I'm leaving that. Lots of hens and chicks, lots of them. You can see them there. I have them all over the place. My lovely neighbor who lives next door, I love going over and just putting flowers in her garden for her. Here's some more rose bushes. The colors are just beautiful. My lilac bush. And then back there is our garden area. We have tomatoes, peppers, strawberries, and I'm putting in potatoes in, you can see those two metal bins back there. One of those will be potatoes. The other one is strawberries. So these are my gardens. And I thoroughly enjoy coming out here and talking to my flowers. It does bring me comfort. Again, as I said, I am just a hobby gardenist. I am not prolific in any way. I just enjoy this. My roots for gardening go all the way back to my childhood when I was very young. The babysitter that my mother had for me was my grandmother's friend who owned a flower shop. And I remember 4, 5, 6 years old going into the flower shop and wrapping baskets for Easter. I remember going into their greenhouse and smelling snapdragon, which are one of my favorite flowers, and I do have them around here. Also, as I was growing up, living on the east side of Buffalo, my landlady had a beautiful garden, and this is where I got my love of gardens and portulaca and roses. She allowed me to walk through and touch and help her with all of the flowers, and that was my childhood. So this is something that I've always done. And you know what? It's always a work in progress. I have a couple more gardens over here. There's one over here. There's also one over here. And, we're still in the process of putting things out. I always have plants sitting somewhere that need to go into the ground. It's very peaceful back here. I love it. I just absolutely love it. Sitting up on the deck with the dogs. It's just a serene place. So I hope you enjoy this. Like I said, this is very short. It's going to be about 15 minutes. And I'm glad you came along. Now, if you want to come over and help me do some weeding, I got extra gloves. I got extra gardening tools. And I certainly have enough weeds to share. Thank you for coming along. Bye, friends.